Jeff, I'm unhappy. I want a divorce. Although Jeff was somewhat shocked, he wasn't entirely unprepared. They had been married for nearly 20 years, but lately, Darlene had been spending a lot of time talking with her friend and so-called marriage expert, Miranda. Miranda's expertise was based on having gone through 3 divorces herself. Jeff, are you listening to me? I want a divorce. Yes, Dar, I heard you. But this is such a serious matter that I don't want to respond hastily. I believe I've been as loving and devoted a husband as possible. I believe I've been a good father. You haven't mentioned any issues in our intimate life, so I don't know what might have happened. But after hearing you, my response is this: I can't bear the thought that staying married to me would take away your chance to be happy. Although it breaks my heart, I will support you in the divorce. But tell me, is the reason for the divorce something that happened recently, or has it been building up over time? Darlene replied, yes, gradually. I need a little space, some time to explore other possibilities, to meet other people. As I understand it, the court requires that we be legally separated for 90 days after signing the papers. In the end, I might change my mind and want to stay married. Maybe we won't have to get divorced. Jeff considered this. That sounds similar to what I've heard from other people talking about their divorces. During the 90-day separation period, we can both date other people, and it's not considered cheating. But, in the end, we both have to agree to stop the divorce. However, neither of us can continue the divorce process without the other's consent. Jeff realized that Darlene hadn't quite understood that he would have the same freedom as she would. I thought that if I filed the papers first, it would be up to me whether to continue the marriage or go through with the divorce. Darlene hesitated. Jeff countered, I don't think that's fair, but just in case, I'll also file so that we're on equal footing. Isn't that fair? Maybe, Darlene stammered. Are you saying you want a divorce? It seems I was under the mistaken impression that I was a suitable husband, father, and lover. No, I don't want a divorce, but I won't stand in the way of your future. Honey, I never said you were inadequate. You've been a wonderful husband, father, and lover. I just want to experience something new and different, spend some time with other people. It might make me feel better. I just need a little time. Being legally separated will give me that freedom. Darlene, the fact that you need more than I can give defines my inadequacy. He paused for a moment, then continued, have you already hired a lawyer and prepared the papers? She ignored his remark about inadequacy. No, I don't have the papers yet. I'm planning to use J.R. Lewis. He handled Miranda's divorces. So, Darlene confirmed the source of this idea of seeking something more from her marriage. Well, I'll probably ask my cousin Sally to handle my side of the divorce. Sally? The she-devil from hell? Darlene, I know you don't like Sally, but she's actually a good person. Her reputation as a tough one comes from her work. She really fights for her clients, whether they're men or women. Ironically, after the last family barbecue, probably because she had a bit too much to drink, Sally offered that if I ever needed a divorce lawyer, she'd handle it for free. Wow, Jeff continued. We have a lot to talk about. I suggest we spend the next 2 weeks preparing for the divorce. That way, we can start our separation on the 1st of the month. Is that okay? Maybe. I don't understand why we need to do anything before the separation is over. Jeff explained, well, I assume the purpose of the separation is to see what it's like to be divorced so that we can decide if we really want a divorce. That means the separation period should be, so to speak, a practice for what life would be like after the divorce. Otherwise, we won't figure anything out until we're actually divorced. It could get pretty messy. Does that make sense to you? Maybe. I hadn't really thought about it. Darlene's resolve was weakening. Here's what I suggest. Why don't we go to the kitchen, grab a notepad, and start planning everything we need to do? I'll put on some coffee. With that, Jeff got out of bed and headed to the kitchen, leaving Darlene deep in thought. By the time Darlene reached the kitchen, the coffee was already brewing, and Jeff was scribbling something in the notepad. "Alright," Jeff continued. "There's so much to consider that it's hard to know where to start. I think we should start by talking about the kids." "What do you mean?" "Well, we'll need to tell them what's happening, and we both need to say the same thing and try to make sure they don't think the divorce is their fault." Darlene became very anxious. Both girls were very emotional and might not handle bad news well. "I don't understand why we have to tell them so much. Can't we just wait 90 days, and maybe we won't have to tell them anything at all?" "But, darling, how will you explain it when they ask, 'Why doesn't Daddy live here anymore?' But, why don't you stay here? We'll still be their mother and father. I thought you would keep living here during the separation, and that that we could still go out sometimes without disrupting the kids' lives." "I don't think that will work, Dar. For one, it would mean coordinating our dates. One of us might get upset with the other if, one evening, one of us wanted to go on a date and the other said it wasn't convenient. We could end up thinking the other was trying to keep us from dating. More importantly, how will you experience what life would be like after divorce if everything stays the same? Besides, the kids might find out or hear from others that we were seen out with other people. We need to tell not only the girls but also all our relatives and friends. Otherwise, they might think we're cheating on each other. The worst part is that no matter how we explain it to the kids, they'll probably think it's their fault. It's unfortunate, but from what I understand about child psychology, it's almost impossible to prevent children of divorced parents from feeling that they're partially to blame. We just need to make sure we're saying the same thing and really emphasizing our love for them. They're good kids, and they'll probably adapt eventually, although it may require some professional therapy. Heck, they might even enjoy having extra grandparents from your new boyfriend and my new girlfriend, more gifts on birthdays and holidays. Of course, we'll have to coordinate very closely about where and when we celebrate birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. We can barely manage it now with only one set of grandparents. Besides, if I stay in the house, you'd have to meet your man at his place or in an expensive motel. It wouldn't be right for you or me to bring a lover home when the other is there with the kids. Also, we need to figure out what having two households will mean for our finances. Obviously, it will mean we'll have less money to live on because we'll add the cost of my apartment's rent and utilities to our current expenses. You'll have to get used to paying for and taking care of everything that we now share and that I currently handle for the family. Shared assets are usually split 50-50ths. This means we'll need to cancel all joint checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards, and then arrange for spousal and child support payments. Alright. There's a lot to do by the first. Darlene sat in shock. She didn't know what to say. Jeff continued. I'll try to rent an apartment closer to work. That way, the girls will have a bed when they stay overnight during my visitation nights. The standard visitation arrangement in most divorces is that the non-custodial parent can see the children every other weekend and on alternate major holidays, unless the custodial parent agrees to more frequent visits. Jeff, I expected you would be seeing the girls much more often. There's homework, sports, drama, and other activities they're used to. You and they seem to enjoy your time together so much. Darling, I'll try to be as much a part of their lives as possible. However, you and or your boyfriend or future husband will need to take on some of the things I currently do. That's just the reality. Weeknight visits will be challenging because it's better for them to be at home on school nights. If I end up with someone else, she might have kids too, and I might need to help them with homework and activities. You might also need to support a new husband with his children. Then there's the issue of storing clothes and toiletries in two places, school transportation since I might not live on the bus route for their school, and just the general disruption of routine. This won't be easy for either of us. This isn't going the way Miranda promised, Darlene thought. She said that my husband would cave at the mention of divorce, offering to keep doing everything he did for the family while allowing me to date on the side. I'm quickly losing control of the situation. Jeff, I'm overwhelmed. I need to get some sleep. Let's talk more tomorrow. I'm going back to bed. Are you coming? She hoped he would come, so she could try to use intimacy to get him to give in without all this responsibility and money division. Sorry, darling, but I need to jot down a few more things before I go to bed. You know how my mind works. The more we get done before the first, the better we'll feel. Good night, dear. Darlene barely slept. She needed to talk to Miranda and tell her about Jeff's unexpected reaction. Miranda would know what to do next. This assurance finally allowed her to fall asleep. She woke up to start her day and immediately noticed that Jeff hadn't slept in bed with her. Oh my God. That idiot must have stayed up all night working on his divorce list. But when she walked into the kitchen, Jeff wasn't there. Only a notebook lay on the kitchen table. Darlene peeked into the guest bedroom and found her husband fast asleep. She went back to start breakfast. While everything was cooking, she looked at the notebook. Under the heading, Matters for Shifting Responsibility, there were listed, mortgage, homeowner's insurance, gas, water, electricity, cable, cell phone, trash, internet security, car payments, car insurance, health insurance, dental insurance, Amazon Prime, LifeLock membership, LifeFlight medical evacuation, and the list went on. This was in addition to all the banking changes they had discussed the night before. On the next page was a draft of his projected expenses for living in an apartment and an estimated budget showing how much alimony she would need to maintain her and the girl's current lifestyle. It showed that they would be short by several $100s each month. He had also made a list of ways to cut expenses. Jeff would have to give up his beloved trips to Waffle House and Starbucks. That's really going to hurt him, she smirked. Then there were her gym membership, the women's group she was part of, and dining out more than once a week. He had even listed some of the children's expenses, as certain extracurricular activities required fees, uniforms, and other materials to be covered. The impact on the children hadn't factored into her divorce plan. On another page, he had written down tasks Darlene would need to handle herself, including refueling the car, regular car maintenance, calling a mechanic, calling a plumber, calling heating and air conditioning repair services, mowing the lawn, washing the cars, grocery shopping, and so on. She had to put the notebook down. Damn it. Why isn't Jeff acting like he's supposed to and giving me what I want? I need to call Miranda before Jeff wakes up. Hello? Miranda? It's Darlene. I have to speak quietly because Jeff is asleep nearby. How did it go last night? Miranda's voice held excitement and an expectation of a positive response from Darlene. Instead of asking what he could do to make things better so I wouldn't divorce him, he agreed to the divorce and then started making a list of all the things he currently does that I'll have to take care of if we divorce. Jeff plans to rent an apartment and only take care of the girls on weekends. He says we need to actually separate and act as though we're really divorced so we can make a more informed decision about whether or not to divorce after 90 days. He doesn't seem at all scared by the idea of a divorce. What should I do? Dar. Silly girl. He's just trying to fool you. He's bluffing. He would never actually sign any real papers. It's pathetic that he has to list every little thing he does just to make you think you need him more than he needs you. Bottom line, you control the kids and that area between your legs. Those two things alone will keep him in check. It's all talk on his part, don't worry. Soon you and Robert will be having a mambo in bed, and you'll still have your husband and your home. I hope you're right and that Robert is worth it. Well, honestly, Jeff hasn't actually done anything yet. I'll stay strong, at least until I see what he's really going to do. Thanks, Miranda. He's getting up. I have to go. Hey, Jeff, want some coffee? Darlene asked nervously. Her husband stumbled over to the coffee pot and said, "Drinking coffee late last night wasn't the best idea. I barely slept." "Why didn't you come to bed?" "Well, I was going to, but I didn't trust myself." "What do you mean by that, honey?" "I saw you sleeping naked and got very aroused. You're still the most beautiful woman I know. I was afraid I'd assume that if you let me make love to you, it would only be pity sex to ease the pain caused by your talk of divorce. I wasn't sure I could resist. Honey, we're still married. I'm yours and only yours, at least until the separation happens. Can't we continue to act as husband and wife until then?" "I'm afraid not. I'm more convinced than ever that this separation needs to start as soon as possible. Although the official separation won't begin until the 1st, it really started the moment you said, 'I'm unhappy.' It's going to be hard for me, but I truly want to see you happy, even if I no longer play an important role in your life. Jeff, you seem to keep forgetting. This is just a separation, we don't have to get divorced. Relax. Give me a little time to find myself, and I'm sure we'll stay married, and it'll be even better than before." I wish I could believe that. I've decided to take the day off. Billy can oversee the repair crews for the day, so I can set some of the separation arrangements in motion. It won't take effect until the 1st, so we'll have a full 90 days to really experience what it would be like if we divorced. By the way, I'll get us both some extra cash. You'll need to use cash until we can get our own credit and debit cards. Luckily, we both have individual checking accounts aside from the main joint account. I'll transfer half of the joint account balance to each of our individual accounts. We need to do this now so we'll have new cards and checks by the 1st. Tonight, I'll update you on what I've done and what you need to do to gain control over your share of the assets. Oh, you'd better hurry, or you'll be late for work. I'll make breakfast for the kids and see them off to school." Darlene wasn't managing her job as the office manager for the regional insurance branch very well. As usual, Robert came by to flirt. Tall, with dark, wavy hair and a smile that made women unbutton their blouses, hoping he'd stop and talk to them. Complimenting Darlene on her beauty and how underappreciated she must be, he asked and they could go listen to some lovely music again. Darlene grew excited and told Robert they'd soon be able to be together in a more comfortable setting. Still, she'd call him later, around the elevator. After he left, her anxiety over the separation from Jeff faded, replaced by memories of Robert's kisses and caresses during their 2 short elevator rides over the past few months since he'd started working there. Returning home from work, Darlene saw evidence that Jeff had been there during the day. She felt emotionally better prepared to deal with all the financial nonsense he was talking about. It was simple. "I have 90 days to have some fun, we remain married, and then I'll figure out how Robert and I can keep seeing each other without getting caught." She sat down at the kitchen table and glanced at the notebook again. Jeff had added a few more items to the list. Then she noticed a new list titled "Potential Women for Dating." It had 2 columns, "Women who have already shown interest," and "Women I'd like to see if they're interested." The columns weren't long, but the names in the first column shocked her. One of them was her own sister, Erica. "That witch." Darlene immediately called her. "Hey, Dar," Erica answered. "How's it going? How dare you try to steal my husband? You tramp." "Whoa, slow down, girl. What are you talking about? Jeff made a list of women who told him they want to date him, and your name is on it. I don't know about any list, but I did tell him once, after a few too many drinks, that if he ever got smart and left your silly, ungrateful behind, I'd be ready to take your place. But hold on, what's going on that he's showing you a list of women who want him? Are you telling me there's trouble in paradise? Did you catch him, or did he catch you messing around with someone else? It's not like that. I just told him I need a little space, some time for myself, to explore new relationships. There it is." Erica interrupted. "Aha, so you're looking for something on the side. Who is it, or is there more than one? No. I haven't been close with anyone, yet. Jeff and I are just going through a 90-day separation, and then we'll decide if we want to stay married or not. No big deal. Clearly, you have someone in mind, but I don't care. So you're telling me that soon you two will be legally separated, and if someone wants to sleep with Jeff, you won't be able to do anything about it. Let me know the date, and I guarantee that 1 second past midnight, I'll be begging him for a date, making it crystal clear that my body is his to use however he wants, and that I am not my sister. I'll be absolutely loyal to him for the rest of my life. You'd better stay away from him or what? There's nothing you can do if you're legally separated. And the point is, you're the one asking for this. All these years, you've bragged about what a great provider he is, what a good husband and father he is. Most of all, you've gone on about what an amazing lover he is and how many orgasms he gives you. And now you want to throw that away? How can you be so foolish? Have you suddenly turned blonde? Like I said, let me know the moment he's free. This is the only time in my life I'll be thrilled to have my older sister's help. Bye. After the call, Darlene tried to calm herself down. Looking at the list of women again didn't help. She saw Jenny, his secretary, a petite single mother, absolutely gorgeous but almost 20 years younger than Jeff. Yet there she was, at the top of the list, which meant she had shown interest in dating her husband. She's probably desperate for a sugar daddy to take care of her and her kid. There were 2 women listed, one of whom was married. The M beside her name must have indicated that. The other 2 names were women who worked at the same place as Jeff. Darlene recognized a few more names from the list, women from their neighborhood. Jeff had done a lot of free work for the neighbors. Although he had a degree in psychology, he'd worked as a handyman in college. He enjoyed it and grew his business to the point where he now had 3 crews working under him. I guess he's been checking out the plumbing of the women, as well as their houses. 3 of the women on the list didn't have names, just descriptions: waitress at Waffle House, barista at Starbucks, and clerk at Walmart. I wonder how many other women find him as attractive as Erica does. I really didn't think he'd start dating during the separation. Maybe he already has someone in mind. Jeff walked into the house and saw his wife looking through the notebook. He was almost certain what the next topic of conversation would be. Well, Jeff, it seems you haven't wasted any time looking for my replacement. My own sister, how could you? I was just trying to catch up with you in picking a boyfriend. What do you mean? I don't have a boyfriend. I just want to explore some new relationships. Like with Robert Turner. How do you know about what Robert Turner? What are you going to do about it? I was at Walmart today and ran into Sylvia, your boss's secretary, on her lunch break. She's an old gossip. Don't believe anything she says. After a long, meaningful pause, Darlene couldn't resist asking, what did she say? Sylvia said, as far as I know, you're good friends with one of our new partners, Robert Turner. I must have looked puzzled because she clarified, since he stops by your wife's office a few times a day, and they have lunch together every day. I asked Darlene what's going on. You know our president has a strict no-office romance policy. Anyway, Darlene explained that Robert was an old college buddy of yours and that you both still do things together often. That's why I think Robert is at least one of the men you'd like to experiment with during the separation. How far have you gone in your exploration? Robert is just a friend. We've hardly done anything besides talk. And yes, I think he might be someone I'd like to date. He's very sweet to me and compliments my appearance, even when I'm not at my best. Anything special? Have the 2 of you done anything that I wouldn't like to see? As Darlene quickly recalled the elevator scenes, her expression gave her away. Maybe it's more important to ask if you 2 have done anything his wife would object to. Wife? He isn't married. Who told you he's married? What kind of woman do you think I am? Well, you don't seem very interested in checking out the men you want to get to know. Let me pull up his Facebook page. That's where I got the information. After a minute of searching, Jeff continued, "Is this Robert Turner?" "Well, yes." "And what does it say about his marital status?" "It says he's married to Cynthia and has 2 sons." Trying to think quickly, Darlene offered, "Maybe that's old information. He might be divorced by now." "Look again." The page was updated 3 days ago. Don't you think he'd update something as important as his marital status? And see what his wife posted recently, "The boys and I can't wait to join Robert when the school year ends." Johnny and Robert Jr. have been key players on their school's baseball team and might even make it to the state tournament. "We'll reunite with the family as soon as the school year ends, or maybe later if they do make it to the state tournament." This, sob, "I swear, he never told me he was married. I wouldn't do anything to ruin someone else's marriage." "You don't seem too concerned about ruining your own marriage." A silence fell between them. Darlene knew she was caught. She needed time to think. Robert was the main reason she wanted the separation, but she couldn't let Jeff find that out. "Well, he was just one of several men I'd be interested in dating. I can make a list too, just like you. Oh, I just remembered something important. If we decide we want to stay married after the separation, we should both provide each other with a medical report to ensure we're free from STDs." "Now you're just being disgusting. Just cautious." "Honestly, I wasn't planning to date anyone since it's only 90 days, but if I feel the need for sex, I could just find a prostitute. I'm sure you'd like to feel safe just as much as I do. Remember, it's not only about you. It's about who you sleep with, who they slept with before you, and so on." Jeff tried not to show how much he enjoyed tightening the screws. While Darlene fumed, Jeff changed the subject. "Okay, Dar, I promise to update you on what I've done to help with the separation process. I have a lot of tasks lined up, most of which will take effect on the 1st. Bank accounts and credit card accounts are the main things to deal with right now so that you have easy access to your funds. The mortgage, utilities, and so on can be sorted out over the next week or so. Oh, and I actually have some good news on the financial side. Did I mention that my secretary, Jenny, works as a night manager at the Royal Crest? Those apartments are close to my job, so I asked her about vacancies, and they have a 2-bedroom available, but I need to act fast. Normally, they're too expensive, but she said that if I become a maintenance specialist for the complex, I could get a 50% discount on the rent. That means more money for you and the kids. You haven't signed a lease yet, right? Remember, we have 90 days, and you could just come back here if you play your cards right." She wanted to say something about his secretary being a gold-digging tramp, but thought it would only make things worse. "No, I haven't signed the lease yet. Although, I had to explain why I was looking for an apartment. She said they usually don't rent month to month, but since it's for 90 days, she thought she could get it approved. When Jenny found out about the separation, she mentioned she'd like me to ask her out. I was surprised given the age difference and all. I had no idea she found me attractive. I told her I was flattered, but company policy doesn't allow supervisors and their subordinates to have anything but professional relationships. Jenny said she'd consider getting a secretarial job somewhere else if that was the only issue. That's why I included her on the list." Steam was practically coming out of Darlene's ears. She bit her tongue, knowing that voicing her thoughts would only make things worse. Without waiting for a response from Darlene, Jeff continued, "The other news is something you should really like. I booked a 10-day vacation in Hawaii. I was waiting to tell you because it was supposed to be a surprise for our 20th anniversary." Darlene's mood shifted 180 degrees. "Hawaii. Oh, Jeff. You know how much I've always wanted to go there. This is just fantastic. I can't wait for us to lie on the beach and swim in the ocean. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. However, Jeff's expression didn't match his wife's enthusiasm. "We aren't going to Hawaii. When you told me you wanted a divorce, I assumed we might not make it to our 20th anniversary. When I tried to cancel and get a refund, they said at this late date I could only get a 20% refund. Thinking about it, I realized that going to Hawaii was more your dream. I thought you should still go, so I had them change the tickets to be for you and a guest to be named later. It could be a great start to your new relationship if you can offer your new man a fully paid trip to Hawaii." "But, Jeff, I wanted to go to Hawaii with you. We could delay the separation. In fact, I think I want to cancel it all. Now that I've had time to think about my life, I'm not as unhappy as I thought. I'm sorry, Dar. I've thought a lot about this. I don't think I could be comfortable knowing we might return to the possibility of divorce someday. Even if you cancel the divorce now, you can't take back saying you wanted it, and you can't erase the images in my mind of you and Robert when you were supposedly doing nothing special. I'll probably continue with the divorce, no matter what you decide, although I can't imagine my life without you or being only a part-time father to my girls." Jeff then went upstairs to the guest bedroom. Darlene was devastated. She knew only one place to turn, Miranda. She called her. "Hey, Darlene. How's it going?" "Miranda, everything's gone to hell. Jeff has found himself an apartment, and his skinny secretary is already flirting with him, plus my sister wants a shot at him too. Worst of all, he had tickets to Hawaii for our anniversary, and he gave them to me to use, but he's not going. He said I could use them to take my new boyfriend. What am I supposed to do now?" "Hey, what's the problem? You and Robert can have an amazing time in the sun, with fun and incredible sex." "No, I found out Robert's married and that his wife and kids will be moving here in a few months. I can't, I don't want to go with him to Hawaii. I want to go with Jeff." "Wait a minute, I just realized what's happening," Miranda countered. "Damn, Jeff is sneakier than I thought. He's lying about booking the trip a long time ago. This is just a ploy to make you feel guilty and cancel the divorce process. Don't worry, with that hot little body of yours, you can get boyfriends as good as, if not better than, Robert and still keep your husband and family." Oh my God. I never thought he could be so cruel. That bastard. I'll make him pay for this. Thanks, Miranda. I was about to give in. He'll really regret this. Talk to you later. When Jeff came downstairs, he had a small bag with him. "So you're trying to act like you're already moving out? Don't worry, and good riddance. Actually, I was just taking a few things to the apartment so I don't have to move too much all at once and to avoid upsetting the girls. Jenny said I could start bringing some things over before the first since the apartment is empty anyway. Your attitude seems to have changed since we talked earlier. Let me guess, you spoke to your marriage expert, Miranda. You really should talk to a marriage expert if you want to stay married. Miranda is an expert on divorces. That's all she's managed to accomplish. Don't try to get under my skin by insulting Miranda. She's got my back. She was the one who pointed out your stunt with the Hawaii tickets. You made up that whole story just to get me to back down. It won't work. I still want a divorce and can't wait for it. There are plenty of guys who want me and will give me what I need. You're absolutely right, at least about the guys who want you. I don't doubt for a minute that you'll have many offers as soon as they know you're available. I always considered myself the luckiest man alive to have a beautiful woman like you, such a great co-parent, and, until recently, a faithful wife and lover. But you're wrong about the Hawaii trip, and I can prove it. Call Lois Simpson at Flight Right Travel Agency. She arranged the trip. In fact, I'll call her myself. Lois, this is Jeff Sinclair again. My wife is on speaker with me. You can go ahead and tell her about the trip. She had a few questions. Of course, Jeff. I'm so sorry you can't go. It sounds like you really wanted to surprise your wife and enjoy the vacation together. What questions do you have, Mrs. Sinclair? Tell me exactly what this so-called trip includes, Darlene growled. This is our 10-day, 2-island package, our most popular one. It includes hotel, meals, transportation, hula lessons, a luau, tiki dancers, surfing, swimming, dancing, all in a romantic setting. I've been there with my husband a couple of times, and it really spiced up our marriage. And when did my husband first book this trip? Darlene was certain this would expose his trick. Let's see, according to my records, he first called about 3 months ago, then settled on this specific trip 2 months ago and paid for it 2 weeks later. Yesterday, he called to cancel and requested a refund. I felt bad that I could only offer 20%. I was pleasantly surprised when he said to go ahead and that you'd find someone else to go with you. That says a lot about him as a husband. You're a lucky woman. Any other questions? You'll need to let me know the name of the other person as soon as possible. I actually can't book the plane tickets until I know that person's name. No more questions. I'll call soon with the name. Darlene tried to imagine what Miranda would say based on this information. After a few seconds, she realized, you think you've tricked me again, don't you? You arranged with Lois to make it seem like you planned this Hawaii trip before I mentioned the divorce. Well, I'm smarter than that. She felt proud of herself for figuring it out without Miranda's help. Jeff sighed loudly and suggested, talk to your parents. What do my parents have to do with this? Who do you think is going to watch the girls while we're gone? Here, let's call them. Darlene was caught off guard. No, you don't need to do that. I need some time to think. Sorry, Dar, I'm already calling. But, Jeff, her mother answered, recognizing the caller ID. Darlene, how are the girls? It's good to hear from you. Hi, Mom, Darlene replied hesitantly. Hi, Mom, it's Jeff. We're on speaker. Hold on a minute, I'll get your father. Darlene and Jeff heard her say in the background, Harold, it's Jeff and Darlene. Come to the phone, dear. Hey, you two, what's going on? Said Harold as he joined the call. After Darlene said nothing, Jeff spoke up, Darlene knows now, so you don't need to keep it a secret. Son, we're so sorry you can't go. You didn't tell us why when you called this morning. I hope it's not due to illness. When you called and said we wouldn't be watching the girls while you two were in Hawaii because you couldn't go, we were disappointed. We were looking forward to having the girls with us for 10 days. And we felt sad for Darlene, knowing how much she wanted this trip, and that she'd rather go with you than anyone else. Have you decided who you'll take, Darlene? One of the girls? That might be tough on the one who stays behind. No, Mom, I haven't decided yet. How long ago did Jeff talk to you about the Hawaii trip? I'm not sure. Harold, do you remember? It was around New Year's, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. 2 or 3 months ago. He said he wanted to give us a heads up so we could stock up on junk food. Those two can really eat everything and never seem to gain an ounce. Jeff, Darlene's mother interjected, is something wrong with Darlene? Why are you asking when Jeff talked to us? Is there something going on between you two? Oh, God, have you split up? Darlene replied, no, Mom, well, not exactly. We sort of decided we need some space, some time apart to recharge our marriage, and then maybe we'll come back together. Dar, I'm not going to lie to your parents. They've always been honest and straightforward with me. Mom, Harold, last Sunday night Darlene told me she wanted a divorce. There were audible gasps on the other end of the line. Darlene tried to save herself, that's not exactly what I meant to say. The first part of the divorce process is a 90-day separation. I wanted this time to help me find myself, explore new possibilities, and improve myself so I could become a better wife and mother afterward. Bullshit, exclaimed Harold. I know liberal nonsense when I hear it. Darlene, Do you have a guy on the side? No, Dad. No, not exactly. Jeff looked like he was about to say something but held back. Harold continued, as his wife's sobs could be heard in the background. I can't believe you're capable of this. We raised you better. I'm so disappointed. Don't expect us to be polite to your new man, Darlene. Jeff, we're truly sorry. Can you at least promise that we'll still get to see our granddaughters after the divorce? Darlene, also sobbing, intervened before Jeff could respond. Jeff has blown this way out of proportion. I take it all back. No divorce. No separation. I'll talk to you later, once things calm down. Jeff looked at the tearful Darlene. You need to pull yourself together, the girls will be home soon. Then he moved toward the door, suitcase in tow. Where are you going? Didn't you hear me? I don't want a divorce. You don't need to go anywhere. Darlene, you unilaterally declared that you wanted a divorce without discussing it with me first. Now you think you can unilaterally declare that we're not getting divorced just because things aren't going the way you planned. You seem to forget that I have a say in this too. After what I've learned about you over the past week, I'm not sure calling off the divorce is a good idea. I'll grab a sleeping bag from the garage and spend the night at the apartment. Jeff, please don't leave. I'm sorry. You said everything was fine before I mentioned that nonsense about wanting a divorce. Can't you just forget about it and go back to the way things were? You said you were happy. I was happy, very happy. But I can't forget how you said you were unhappy or how you had a planned affair with Robert. Like I said, you've already committed adultery in my mind. Sally told me it would be easy to file the divorce papers since it's a standard divorce procedure. She could probably have them ready by tomorrow. I won't sign them, Darlene said sharply. That doesn't matter. All she has to do is make sure you're officially served. I think she could even do it at your workplace, with plenty of witnesses, maybe even Robert. He might deserve an alienation of affection lawsuit, too. Heck, I could even serve your boss for violating company policy, though it would probably get you both fired, and that goes too far. I need you to be able to take care of the girls after the divorce. You know, maybe I'll just have a talk with Robert's wife. That should be enough to pay him back. Why are you being so cruel? I love you, and you love me. Is there anything I can do to make amends? You said divorce would be a painful ordeal for both of us. Don't you want to avoid that pain? I promise never to bring up this mess with divorce again. Please stay and let's work this out. Tears streamed down Darlene's face. Jeff stood still and silent. Darlene felt she was getting through to him. I promise to be the best wife in the world. I won't look at another man. I've given you almost 20 years of a good marriage, 2 wonderful children, and supported your business even when it meant you'd come home late and dirty. I'm so proud of how you've succeeded. Everyone makes mistakes. Please, give me another chance. Please. Finally, Jeff replied, here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and drop my suitcase and sleeping bag at the apartment. I'm going to ask you to write down a few things. Your words and actions have hurt me more than you realize. If your answers are what I'm looking for, I'll consider calling off or at least postponing the divorce. I'll be back at 7 o'clock. You may want to send the kids to your parents or friends so we can talk freely. Yes, yes. Thank you. What should I write? First, I want an apology for starting this whole mess, and I want you to beg, not just ask but beg, for my forgiveness. Second, I want you to tell Robert not to contact you again. Threaten to tell his wife if he persists. Let him know I might take legal action against him and your company if he doesn't comply. Third, I want you to list every reason you can think of as to why I should consider staying married to you. Finally, I want you to call Miranda and tell her you'll never speak to her again. This is non-negotiable. If I ever hear the words, Miranda says I should again, I'll leave immediately. Do you understand what I'm asking if you want us to have a chance at staying married? Yes, dear, I think I understand. I'll do everything and be ready by 7 o'clock. Good. See you at 7 o'clock. Jeff picked up his suitcase and left. Darlene started with the last item on the list. She rehearsed what to say to Miranda. Listening to you was the worst decision I ever made. Because of you, I almost lost everything that mattered to me. Never call me, text me, email me, or even think of me. If you see me in a store or restaurant, walk away, or I might not be responsible for my actions. Darlene was surprised at how good it felt to cut Miranda off like that. Then she called Robert and relayed what Jeff had asked her to say. It was unpleasant to hear Robert beg her to meet him one last time at a motel, insult her, and say she was probably a lousy lover anyway. She shut him down by saying her husband might call his wife if he caused any more trouble. The task she had expected to be the hardest on the list actually turned out to be the easiest, the list of reasons why Jeff should want to stay married to her. Free from her desire for something more than what she had with Jeff, she was able to think about all the things that made her happy in their life together. Darlene managed to create a long list. This should impress Jeff, she thought. She had no problem apologizing for the divorce ordeal. How foolish, selfish, and arrogant I was. Never again. By 7 o'clock, Darlene was ready and feeling confident. She grew a bit anxious when 7 o'clock came and Jeff wasn't there. 5 minutes later, he returned without any luggage. Darlene noticed that his expression hadn't changed since he left earlier in the day. She tried to be as polite and humble as possible. Here are my responses. I hope you'll soften. Jeff looked at the list for a long time. As he read, he began to cry. Darlene started crying too, thinking that his show of emotion was a good sign. This is very impressive, Dar. Her heart fluttered with hope, and she rose to hug him, but he motioned for her to sit back down. What you've written is good, but I still don't know if you truly understand how much you've hurt me. I'm afraid I might have to continue with the divorce. Darlene was completely devastated. Her heart felt as if it had been thrown to the ground. She collapsed onto the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Her grief reached a depth she had never experienced before. In her sorrow, she murmured, I've ruined my family's life. I'm the worst person on earth. I don't deserve to live. How could I have been so foolish? Jeff knelt down in front of her and whispered, now you understand how I felt. As Darlene wept on the floor, he walked to the door, paused, and turned back to her. I'm right that during our separation, we're free to date whomever we want, correct? His wife struggled to compose herself enough to say, but. She couldn't stop crying long enough to finish. All right, if we're free to date whomever we want, then what are you doing Friday night? Would you like to have dinner and see a movie? What? Are you asking me out on a date? Yes. I think we've completely destroyed our old relationship, but we might have a chance at building a new one. Darlene got up and rushed to Jeff. Yes, 1,000 times yes.